In this moment, you stand at the threshold of a journey not towards a distant goal or an outside destination, but inward, to the core of your own being. The mountain before you is not made of rock or stone, but of the challenges, fears, and limitations that have shaped you, the obstacles you have carried within you, sometimes unknowingly, for far too long. This mountain is you. You have climbed it, struggled against it, and perhaps even avoided it. Yet, it has always been there, standing silently in the background of your life, waiting for you to recognize its presence. And now, in this sacred moment, you are being called to rise. The mountain is not your enemy. It is not a force to be conquered, but a teacher to be embraced. Its steepest peaks, its sharpest edges, and its deepest valleys are all a reflection of the emotional, mental, and spiritual terrain that you have walked. Every struggle, every moment of doubt, has shaped the person you are today, and it is time to realize that the mountain holds the keys to your transformation. You see, the mountain is not an obstacle to your success. It is the very path that will lead you to your greatest strength. In its shadow, you have learned to survive. But now, as you begin this journey, you will learn to thrive. In the silence, as you begin to listen to your inner voice, you will find that the mountain begins to reveal its secrets. It will show you where you have been holding back, where you have been hiding from your true potential, and where you have the power to climb higher than ever before. This is not a race. There is no rush. You are not here to force your way to the top, but to walk gently, with purpose and awareness, step by step. The mountain will not move for you, but it will move within you. With each step, you will shed the old beliefs that no longer serve you, and you will come closer to the truth of who you really are. Breathe deeply now. Feel the weight of your own potential in the quiet of this moment. You have arrived, not just at the foot of a mountain, but at the beginning of a journey that will change you. The mountain is not there to break you, but to show you who you truly are, resilient, capable, and worthy of the summit. This journey is yours, and it begins now. Embrace the climb, for the mountain is you. Chapter 1. The Mountain is Youth. Road to transformation often begins not with an external obstacle, but with an internal realization. The biggest challenge you will face is not the world outside, but the world within you. The obstacles that feel like roadblocks in your life, the difficulties you perceive as being in your way, are reflections of the barriers you have created within yourself. These barriers exist in the form of your beliefs, fears, doubts, and unresolved emotions. These internal mountains are the very things that hold you back from reaching your potential. This chapter is about recognizing that your greatest challenge is not the world or the circumstances that you find yourself in, but the internal struggles that you avoid. For years, we tend to project our problems onto the world outside of us, blaming external factors for our suffering. We see challenges as things that happen to us, not things that come from within us. But the truth is, the obstacles that stand in our way are often the result of the internal landscape we've created, the fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs that we've internalized over time. It's important to acknowledge that the mountain you face is not a singular, external force. It is composed of all the internal beliefs, thoughts, and emotions that you have carried with you for years. The voices in your head that tell you you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you will fail. Those are the voices of your internal mountain. They have been there for so long that you've come to accept them as truths. But they are not truths. They are simply beliefs. Beliefs that were shaped by past experiences, by messages you received from others, or by negative patterns that you have internalized over time. The moment you recognize that the mountain before you is not an obstacle that lies outside of you, but one that is created by your own thoughts and beliefs, you begin the process of transformation. This chapter is about understanding that the mountain you are facing is not an external one to climb, but an internal one to confront. When you choose to face it, you begin to unlock the power to transform your life. The first step in overcoming your personal mountain is to acknowledge that it exists. The mountain is not something to avoid or run from. Avoidance only makes the mountain grow bigger. The longer you ignore it, the more it looms in your life, quietly dictating your actions and thoughts, keeping you stuck. The moment you recognize it, you begin to take your power back. You stop allowing the mountain to control your life. You stop letting your fears and limiting beliefs dictate who you are and what you are capable of. One of the key realizations in the process of facing your mountain is that the challenge is not the mountain itself. It is your resistance to it. The internal mountain is not meant to break you. It is meant to help you evolve. It is a part of your personal journey. The obstacles you face, the difficulties that feel so overwhelming, are not there to stop you. They are there to guide you, to help you learn and grow. We often try to avoid the discomfort of facing our inner struggles. We distract ourselves, numb ourselves, or try to push through without actually confronting the real issue. But this avoidance only keeps us stuck. The longer we run from the mountain, the more power it has over us. The moment we face it, it begins to lose its power. The fear that once paralyzed us begins to lose its grip, and we realize that we are stronger than we ever thought possible. It's not easy to face the mountain. The climb is not going to be smooth or simple. You will feel fear, you will doubt yourself, and you will question whether or not you're capable of reaching the top. But that is exactly the point. The mountain is not there to break you. It is there to challenge you, to help you build resilience, and to help you discover the strength you have always had inside of you. Facing the mountain is an act of courage. It's about acknowledging the fears and doubts that have kept you stuck, and choosing to move forward anyway. It's about realizing that the very obstacles that seem to block your path are actually the things that will propel you forward. These obstacles are the very tools you need to transform. They are the opportunities for growth and self-discovery that you have been waiting for. Each step you take toward facing the mountain is a step toward personal empowerment. You don't need to know exactly how to climb the entire mountain right now. You don't need to have all the answers or know what the top will look like. The only thing you need to do is take one step at a time. The first step is the hardest. It requires you to let go of the fear and uncertainty, to stop doubting yourself, and to trust that you are capable. Once you take that first step, you will find that the mountain is not as daunting as it once seemed. As you begin to face your personal mountain, you will encounter moments of doubt, moments when you want to give up, moments when the climb feels too hard. But it is in these moments that you will find your greatest strength. These moments are not signs of failure. They are the moments when you are growing. When you choose to continue, even when it feels hard, you are proving to yourself that you are stronger than your fears. The key to climbing the mountain is not to rush. Transformation is not about getting to the top quickly. It is about taking the time to learn, to grow, and to evolve with each step. Every moment of discomfort, every step of the climb, is an opportunity for you to shed old beliefs, to release limiting patterns, and to step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. The mountain is not just the destination. It is the process of becoming. Remember that the mountain is not your enemy. It is a part of your journey, and it is here to help you grow. It is through facing the mountain, one step at a time, that you will discover the strength, resilience, and wisdom that have always been within you. You are capable of climbing it. You are capable of reaching the top, and when you reach the summit, you will look back and see how far you have come. You will realize that the mountain was never meant to stop you. It was meant to reveal to you the person you are becoming, the person who is strong, capable, and worthy of all the success, love, and fulfillment you desire. The climb is just beginning. You are ready to face the mountain. Chapter 2. Self-sabotage is the real obstacle. We all want success. We all want to live fulfilling lives, to experience love, to achieve our goals, and to reach our highest potential. Yet time and time again, we find ourselves standing in our own way. We get in our own heads, create obstacles that weren't there to begin with, and find ourselves sabotaging our own progress. The real obstacle in our lives is not the external world. It is the way we hold ourselves back. It is the invisible force of self-sabotage that stands between us and the life we want to create. Self-sabotage is often misunderstood. It is not about consciously wanting to fail or wanting to get in our own way. Rather, it is an unconscious pattern of behavior that prevents us from living the life we truly desire. We sabotage ourselves because of fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being rejected, or fear of being judged. These fears are so deeply ingrained in us that they often manifest in self-sabotaging behaviors, without us even realizing it. At its core, self-sabotage is a survival mechanism. It is a defense mechanism that stems from our need to protect ourselves from pain, disappointment, and rejection. When we sabotage our own efforts, we are trying to avoid the possibility of failure, or worse, the emotional fallout that comes with not succeeding. The fear of failure is so intense that rather than risk falling short, we convince ourselves not to try at all. This way, we can maintain the illusion of safety. avoiding the potential pain of failure by never giving ourselves the chance to succeed in the first place. Self-sabotage often shows up in the form of procrastination. We wait until the last possible moment to take action, convincing ourselves that we work better under pressure, or that we need just a little more time to prepare. The truth is that procrastination is a form of avoidance. We put off doing the things that truly matter because they feel uncomfortable or overwhelming. Procrastination is a way to avoid the fear of failure because it allows us to delay facing the very real possibility that we might fall short of our expectations. Another common form of self-sabotage is perfectionism. We convince ourselves that we must do everything perfectly, that if something isn't flawless, it isn't worth doing at all. Perfectionism is a trap. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of constantly striving for an unattainable ideal, never fully satisfied with our progress. The fear of imperfection prevents us from finishing tasks, or even starting them in the first place. We are afraid that if we put ourselves out there and fail, we will face rejection, judgment, or disappointment. Perfectionism keeps us stuck in a place of inaction, waiting for the right moment to begin, when in reality, there is no such thing as the right moment. Self-sabotage also manifests in the form of negative self-talk. We are our own harshest critics, telling ourselves we are not good enough, that we don't deserve success, that we are incapable of achieving our goals. These thoughts are deeply ingrained in us, often rooted in past experiences, childhood conditioning, or societal messages, but they are not truths. They are simply beliefs that we have internalized over time, and it is these beliefs that keep us from taking risks, from pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zone, and from fully stepping into the life we deserve. Self-sabotage also shows up in the fear of success. This may seem counterintuitive, but many people are actually afraid of succeeding. Success often comes with change, with new expectations, and with greater responsibility. The fear of success is the fear of stepping into a new identity, of becoming someone who is capable, someone who is seen and heard. We may be comfortable in our current identity, even if it doesn't fully align with our desires. The idea of changing who we are, of stepping into a more powerful, more visible version of ourselves, can feel terrifying. So, instead of embracing success, we unconsciously sabotage our own efforts to prevent ourselves from stepping into that next phase of our lives. One of the biggest reasons we self-sabotage is the fear of not being good enough. We don't believe we are worthy of success, happiness, or love. This belief often comes from past experiences of rejection, failure, or not feeling supported. We internalize these experiences and carry them with us into adulthood, convincing ourselves that we are not deserving of the very things we want most in life. As a result, we sabotage our own progress to protect ourselves from the hurt of being rejected or not measuring up. The first step in overcoming self-sabotage is to become aware of it. We cannot change what we do not see. The next time you procrastinate, avoid taking action, or fall into a cycle of negative self-talk, pause and ask yourself why. What is the fear driving this behavior? What are you really afraid of? The more aware you become of your self-sabotaging patterns, the more power you have to change them. Awareness is the key to breaking free from the cycle of self-sabotage. Once you've identified your self-sabotaging behaviors, the next step is to confront the underlying fear or belief. What is the belief that is holding you back? What are you afraid will happen if you succeed, or if you allow yourself to fail? Often, these beliefs are rooted in past experiences or old stories we've been telling ourselves. But the truth is that these beliefs no longer serve us. They were formed at a time when we were trying to protect ourselves, but they are not based in reality. We are no longer that person who was afraid, and we no longer need to hold on to these old beliefs. To overcome self-sabotage, you must challenge these limiting beliefs. You must replace them with empowering, positive beliefs that reflect your true potential. Start by questioning the stories you've been telling yourself. Are they true? Are they helpful? What would happen if you allowed yourself to believe something different? When you change the way you view yourself and the world around you, begin to change the way you act and the results you create. Another key step in overcoming self-sabotage is to practice self-compassion. It is easy to beat ourselves up when we fall short of our expectations, but self-criticism only reinforces the cycle of self-sabotage. Instead, be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the same love and understanding that you would offer to a friend who is struggling. Acknowledge your mistakes, but don't let them define you. Remember that you are worthy of success, that you are capable of achieving your dreams, and that you are deserving of happiness. Finally, take small, consistent actions toward your goals. Progress does not have to be perfect. It simply has to be consistent. Break your goals down into manageable steps and focus on taking action every day. With each step you take, you build momentum and confidence. You begin to see that success is not about perfection, but about progress. But when you overcome self-sabotage, you unlock your true potential. You begin to see that the only thing standing in your way is the fear and limiting beliefs you have been holding on to. When you let go of these beliefs, you create space for success, abundance, and personal growth. The mountain you thought was insurmountable becomes a challenge that you can rise to meet. Self-sabotage is no longer the obstacle. It is the opportunity for transformation. Chapter 3. Understanding your personal mountain. There comes a point in everyone's life when they must face their own internal mountain. It is the moment when you realize that the true obstacle standing between you and your goals is not external. It is the mountain within. This mountain is not made of rocks or soil. It is built from your own experiences, fears, and beliefs. It is constructed from the stories you tell yourself about who you are, what you are capable of, and what you deserve. Understanding your personal mountain means recognizing that it is not something that can be climbed with sheer willpower alone. You cannot push through it in the same way you might attack an external problem. The journey up your personal mountain is not about brute strength. It is about self-awareness, inner reflection, and emotional growth. The mountain you are climbing is not outside of you, but deeply ingrained in who you are. The first step in understanding your personal mountain is to acknowledge its existence. For many people, this mountain is something they avoid facing. They distract themselves with busyness, external validation, or material pursuits to avoid the discomfort of confronting their internal struggles. It feels easier to look outside of ourselves for solutions, to blame external circumstances, or to convince ourselves that once we achieve certain things, more money, a new job, or a different relationship, everything will fall into place. But the truth is that no matter where you go, your personal mountain will follow you. It will manifest in your relationships, your career, and your internal state of being. Until you confront it, it will continue to influence your decisions and shape your life in ways that are often unconscious. Understanding your mountain starts with self. The first question you must ask yourself is, what beliefs, fears, and emotions are keeping me from living the life I truly desire? These are not easy questions to answer. They require you to look inward, to face the parts of yourself that you have been avoiding. They ask you to confront the fears, doubts, and self-limiting beliefs that you have carried with you, often for years, without ever questioning them. Often, the mountain within is made of beliefs that you have internalized. Over time, these beliefs shape the way you see yourself and the world around you. If, for example, you grew up with the belief that you were never good enough, that you had to work harder than everyone else to succeed, or that you didn't deserve success or happiness, these beliefs will become the foundation of your mountain. They will shape your decisions and actions in subtle, unconscious ways. These beliefs are often shaped by childhood experiences or the messages we received from those around us. The people in our lives, our parents, teachers, friends, or society, have a profound impact on how we view ourselves. If you were told that you weren't capable of achieving your dreams, that you should know your place, or that you should always play it safe, these messages become the foundation for the mountain you now face. The question is, how can you begin to dismantle this mountain? The first step is to challenge the beliefs that built it. Ask yourself, are these beliefs really true? Are they serving me, or are they limiting my potential? Beliefs are not truths. They are simply stories we tell ourselves, often based on past experiences or societal conditioning. When you recognize this, you gain the power to change them. For example, if you believe that success is only for others and not for you, ask yourself where that belief came from. Is it something you've been told by others? Is it something that was instilled in you during childhood? Is it a belief that has been reinforced by past failures or disappointments? Once you begin to see that this belief is not a truth, but simply a limiting thought pattern, you can begin to shift it. You can start replacing it with empowering beliefs that align with your true potential. Another key part of understanding your personal mountain is recognizing the role of fear. Fear is an essential part of the human experience, but it can also be the force that holds us back from living our fullest potential. Fear often manifests in the form of self-doubt or anxiety. It convinces us that we are not capable, that we will fail, or that we are unworthy of success. Fear is the voice in your head that tells you to play it safe, to stay small, and to avoid taking risks. The mountain within is often made of the fears we carry. The fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success, and fear of change. These fears keep us stuck, holding us back from taking action toward our dreams and goals. But just as with limiting beliefs, fear is not a reality. It is an emotion, a response to uncertainty. And while it's natural to feel fear, it's important to remember that fear doesn't define who you are. Fear does not have the power to stop you unless you allow it to. To climb your personal mountain, you must be willing to face your fears head-on. This doesn't mean eliminating fear altogether, but it means learning to move forward in spite of it. The more you face your fears, the less power they will have over you. The more you step into discomfort, the more resilient you become. Another critical aspect of understanding your personal mountain is acknowledging the role of your past. Your past experiences, the successes, the failures, the wounds, the lessons, have all contributed to the person you are today. Your mountain is made of the memories you carry with you, both positive and negative. The good experiences have shaped you in positive ways, but the painful ones have also created emotional blockages that are keeping you from moving forward. Your past does not define your future, but it does shape how you approach the present. If you have been hurt in the past, you may carry emotional scars that influence your behavior and decisions. You may find yourself repeating old patterns, afraid to trust others or take risks because of past disappointments. These scars are part of the mountain you must climb, but they are not there to break you. They are there to teach you, to help you grow stronger, and to show you where healing is needed in facing your personal mountain. It's important to release the hold that the past has on you. This doesn't mean forgetting what happened or pretending that it didn't hurt. It means letting go of the emotional baggage that keeps you tethered to old patterns. It means forgiving yourself for the things you regret and allowing yourself to heal. Only then can you move forward with a clear mind and an open heart. Understanding your personal mountain also requires self-compassion. We are often our own harshest critics. We beat ourselves up for not being perfect, for not being further along in our journey, or for making mistakes. But self-criticism only fuels the mountain. It adds more weight to the climb and makes it harder to move forward. Self-compassion, on the other hand, allows you to acknowledge your imperfections without judgment. It helps you see your flaws as part of your growth process, not as a reason to give up. Climbing your mountain requires patience, kindness, and understanding toward yourself. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. You will stumble, you will fall, and you will make mistakes. But each time you get back up, you get stronger, wiser, and closer to who you are meant to be. Ultimately, understanding your personal mountain means recognizing that it is not an obstacle that is holding you back, but your own beliefs, fears, and unresolved emotions. Once you acknowledge the mountain, you can begin the process of climbing it. And with each step, you will shed the layers of self-doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs that have kept you stuck. The mountain is not here to stop you. It is here to guide you, to help you grow, and to reveal the strength and potential you have always had within you. The climb is not easy, but it is worth it. The mountain is not your enemy. It is your path to becoming the person you are always meant to be. Chapter 4. What happens when you avoid the mountain? For much of our lives, we avoid confronting the very obstacles that have the power to set us free. The internal mountain that stands before us is not a barrier, it is an opportunity. Yet, it's natural to want to avoid something that feels difficult, uncomfortable, or overwhelming. We look at the steep incline and the uncertain journey ahead, and we hesitate. We convince ourselves that the mountain is too much to climb, that it is too big or too challenging. So, we choose to look away, to distract ourselves, and to hope that the mountain will eventually disappear. But here's the truth, the mountain doesn't go away. It doesn't shrink or vanish just because we choose to ignore it. Instead, the longer we avoid it, the bigger and more imposing it becomes. The mountain becomes a silent weight that we carry with us, even when we are not consciously aware of it. It affects our thoughts, our emotions, and the decisions we make. It quietly keeps us stuck, trapped in a cycle of resistance and avoidance. The longer we avoid facing our mountain, the more power we give it. We may not realize it, but by avoiding the challenge before us, we are only prolonging the discomfort. The mountain begins to consume our energy, draining us from the inside. It becomes a force that controls us without us even knowing it. Our fears, insecurities, and unresolved emotions create barriers that feel insurmountable. And the more we avoid them, the more they become the very thing that holds us back. Avoidance is a form of resistance. We resist the discomfort that comes with facing our fears. We resist the change that is required to transform. We resist the unknown because it feels safer to stay in what is familiar, even if it is limiting. But the truth is, resistance only makes things harder. The longer we avoid facing our mountain, the more entrenched our fears and limiting beliefs become. And the more we resist, the harder it is to break free from the grip of those fears. Avoidance may feel like the easy way out, but in reality, it only prolongs our suffering. We try to avoid discomfort, yet it is the discomfort that is needed for growth. Without discomfort, there is no transformation. The mountain represents the challenge of becoming the person you are meant to be. It is a process of shedding the old layers of fear, self-doubt, and limitation that have kept you small. But in order to shed these layers, you must face the discomfort. You must be willing to step into the unknown and trust that on the other side of the discomfort lies the life you desire. When we avoid the mountain, we also avoid the lessons it has to offer. Each challenge, each fear, is an opportunity for growth. The mountain is not just an obstacle to overcome, but a guide that leads us to our greatest transformation. But when we avoid it, we miss out on the chance to learn, to grow, and to step into our full potential. We deny ourselves the opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our true purpose. Avoidance keeps us in a state of stagnation, trapped in the same old patterns, never moving forward, never growing. Another consequence of avoiding the mountain is that we begin to live in a state of denial. We convince ourselves that everything is fine, that we are okay, that we don't need to confront the deeper issues that are holding us back. But deep down, we know that something is off. We feel an emptiness, a sense of dissatisfaction that we can't quite put our finger on. This is the result of avoiding the mountain. It is the nagging feeling that we are not living the life we are meant to live, that we are not living in alignment with our true purpose. This feeling of dissatisfaction only grows when we continue to avoid the mountain. It becomes a quiet frustration that seeps into every aspect of our lives. We may start to feel resentful, not of the world around us, but of ourselves. We begin to blame ourselves for not living the life we desire, for not taking the necessary steps to climb the mountain. We feel guilty for not facing our fears, for not being brave enough to take action. This guilt only adds to the weight of the mountain, making it feel even heavier, even harder to face. Avoidance also perpetuates a cycle of self-sabotage. When we avoid facing our fears and limiting beliefs, we continue to make decisions that keep us stuck. We procrastinate, we make excuses, and we convince ourselves that we will do it tomorrow, next week, or at some other undefined time in the future. But tomorrow never comes. We stay in a constant state of waiting, telling ourselves that we'll face the mountain when we're ready. But the truth is, we will never feel fully ready. The mountain is not something to prepare for endlessly. It is something to face, step by step, in the present moment. By avoiding the mountain, we are also avoiding the possibility of real change. We stay in a state of comfort, even though that comfort is not fulfilling. The mountain may seem intimidating, but it is the only path to the life you truly want. By avoiding it, you are also avoiding the success, fulfillment, and peace that you are meant to experience. The discomfort of the climb is temporary, but the rewards of reaching the summit last a lifetime. What's worse, the longer we avoid the mountain, the more it erodes our confidence. Every time we choose to look away from the challenge before us, we reinforce the belief that we are not capable of overcoming it. We tell ourselves that we're not strong enough, that we're not brave enough, or that we'll never be able to achieve our dreams. The more we avoid, the more our self-worth is tied to our inaction. We begin to feel powerless, defeated, and disconnected from our own potential. This is why it's essential to face the mountain. The moment you choose to confront it is the moment you take back your power. The mountain represents all the fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs that have kept you small, but it also represents your ability to rise above them. By facing the mountain, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. You break the cycle of avoidance and take the first step toward transformation. The good news is that the mountain will not stay the same size. The more you face it, the smaller it will become. What once seemed insurmountable will become manageable. You will begin to realize that the mountain was never the obstacle. It was simply a reflection of the internal beliefs and fears that you needed to confront. As you move forward, you will grow stronger, more resilient, and more confident in the ability to overcome anything that comes your way. Avoidance is a choice, but it is not a choice that leads to fulfillment. It is the choice to remain stuck, to live in denial, and to let fear control your life. Facing the mountain, on the other hand, is the choice to step into your power, to embrace discomfort, and to trust in your ability to rise. The mountain is there for you to climb, not to defeat you, but to guide you toward the person you are meant to become. Chapter 5. Facing the mountain. There comes a time when we can no longer look away. The mountain that we have been avoiding for so long becomes undeniable. We can no longer pretend it doesn't exist, or hope that it will disappear on its own. The mountain stands before us, imposing, powerful, and unyielding, and the time has come to face it. The question is not whether the mountain will come. The question is whether you are ready to face it. The mountain is a reflection of the internal obstacles that stand in your way. It is made of the fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs that you have carried with you for years. It represents all the internal struggles that have prevented you from living the life you truly desire. It is the thing that keeps you stuck, that holds you back from achieving your goals and realizing your full potential. Facing the mountain is not an easy task. It requires courage, vulnerability, and the willingness to step into the unknown. But it is the only path to transformation. The mountain will not climb itself, and you cannot continue to avoid it forever. The longer you put off facing it, the greater the toll it takes on your life. The weight of the mountain increases with each moment you delay, and the fear of it only grows stronger. But once you decide to face it, the mountain begins to lose its power over you. The first step in facing the mountain is to stop avoiding it. You have been running from it for so long, convincing yourself that it will eventually go away. But avoidance only makes the mountain bigger. Every time you turn your back on it, it grows stronger and more intimidating. The longer you wait, the more it consumes your thoughts, your energy, and your emotions. But when you decide to face the mountain, you take away its power. You take back the control that you have allowed it to have over you. When you face the mountain, you are not confronting something that is designed to defeat you. The mountain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is the thing that will help you grow, evolve, and become the person you were always meant to be. The mountain is made of fear, but fear is not the enemy. It is the invitation. Fear is the catalyst that will propel you toward your growth. The mountain is there to show you that you are stronger than you think, that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. The second step in facing the mountain is to acknowledge your fear. It is natural to feel fear when you look at the mountain. It is big, it is daunting, and it feels insurmountable. But fear is not a signal that you should turn back. Fear is a sign that you are on the right path. It is the signal that you are about to do something important, something that will push you beyond your comfort zone and bring you closer to your true potential. Fear is the voice that tells you to stop, to retreat, to stay small, but it is also the voice that tells you that growth is just on the other side of it. The moment you step into the fear, the moment you choose to face it, you begin to transform. You realize that fear is not something to avoid, but something to move through. The more you face it, the less power it has over you. The more you step into the unknown, the more confident you become in your ability to navigate it. Facing the mountain also means embracing vulnerability. For so long, you have avoided this challenge because it made you feel weak, uncertain, or inadequate. But vulnerability is not weakness. It is the source of your strength. Vulnerability is the willingness to be honest with yourself about where you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. It is the willingness to say, I don't have all the answers, but I am willing to take the next step. Vulnerability is the courage to admit that you are not perfect, that you are not invincible, but that you are still worthy of success and happiness. When you face the mountain, you will encounter parts of yourself that you may have avoided for years. You will confront the fears, the doubts, and the insecurities that have been hiding in the shadows of your mind. These are the parts of yourself that you have been running from, but they are not there to defeat you. They are there to show you where you need to heal, where you need to grow, and where you need to step into your true power. One of the most important things to remember when facing the mountain is that it is not about perfection. It is not about climbing the mountain without stumbling or falling. The climb is difficult, and you will face setbacks. You will experience moments of doubt, moments when you want to give up, but these moments are part of the process. They are the moments when your strength is built, when you stumble, when you fall, you learn, you get back up, you dust yourself off, and you continue on your path. The journey is not about perfection, it is about progress. The mountain is also about resilience. It is about learning to keep going, even when it feels like the climb is too steep. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them head-on. It is about learning to bounce back from failure, to keep moving forward when you feel like giving up, and to stay committed to your journey, no matter how difficult it may seem. Every time you face a challenge and continue on, you build resilience. Every time you confront your fears and move through them, you become stronger. As you face the mountain, remember that you are not alone. There will be people who walk with you, who offer support, and who guide you along the way. But ultimately, this is your journey. The mountain is yours to climb. It is your path to walk, and only you can take the steps necessary to reach the top. That the summit of the mountain is not the end of the journey. It is simply a moment of reflection, a moment to look back and see how far you have come. The real transformation happens in the climb, in the process of facing your fears, overcoming your doubts, and stepping into the person you are meant to be. The mountain is not your enemy. It is your ally in the journey toward becoming your highest self. As you climb your personal mountain, remember that each step is a victory. Each step, no matter how small, is progress. The mountain is not there to break you. It is there to show you who you truly are and what you are capable of. You are stronger than you think, and the more you face your fears, the more you will see that the mountain is not insurmountable. You have everything within you to climb it. You are ready. Chapter 6. Transformation through facing fear. Fear is often seen as something to avoid, something that holds us back from living our fullest lives. We grow up learning to fear failure, rejection, judgment, and uncertainty. Fear becomes something we want to distance ourselves from, something that we believe will stop us in our tracks. But what if the very thing we fear most is not something that should stop us, but something that can actually transform us? The truth is, fear is an essential part of the human experience. It is not something to be eradicated or avoided. Fear is the signal that we are on the verge of something new, something bigger, something that will help us grow. Fear is not an obstacle. It is the doorway to transformation. The more we face our fears, the more we expand our capacity for growth, resilience, and success. When you face your fear, you are not simply overcoming a challenge, you are changing your relationship with it. You are proving to yourself that fear does not define you, and that it does not have to control your actions. Fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. The moment you stop avoiding it and start moving through it, you take back your power. You no longer let fear dictate your decisions or shape your future. You choose to act, to move forward, even in the presence of fear. Transformation through facing fear is not about eliminating fear altogether. Fear will always be a part of the human experience. It is a natural response to uncertainty, to the unknown, and to the challenges that come with stepping outside of our comfort zones. Transformation happens when we learn to move forward despite the fear. When we stop waiting for fear to disappear before we take action, we free ourselves from the paralysis it creates. We realize that fear is not an enemy. It is simply a companion. On the path to growth, facing fear is where the real magic happens. It is in the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the challenge of the unknown that we find our true strength. Fear is a mirror, reflecting back to us all the parts of ourselves that we need to confront. It shows us the beliefs, the doubts, and the limiting stories we have carried with us for so long. Fear forces us to look at these beliefs and decide whether or not we are going to let them control us. It is in facing fear that we realize how much more we are capable of than we ever imagined. One of the most common fears that hold us back is the fear of failure. We often believe that failure is the worst thing that can happen to us, that it will somehow define us as inadequate or unworthy. But in reality, failure is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. It is through failure that we learn, grow, and evolve. Failure teaches us valuable lessons about who we are, what we want, and how we can improve. When we stop fearing failure and start seeing it as a tool for growth, we open ourselves up to greater possibilities. The fear of failure often stems from the belief that we are not good enough, that we are incapable of succeeding. This belief is deeply rooted in past experiences, societal pressures, and the stories we have told ourselves about what success looks like. But when we face the fear of failure, we challenge these limiting beliefs. We realize that we are worthy of success, and that our value is not defined by our accomplishments. We are worthy simply because we exist. Another fear that often holds us back is the fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think of us, whether we will be accepted, or whether we will be criticized for our actions. The fear of judgment can keep us stuck in a state of inaction, paralyzed by the idea of what others might say or think. But the truth is, you cannot control how others perceive you. What others think of you is none of your business. The only thing you can control is how you choose to show up in the world. When we face the fear of judgment, we begin to realize that the opinions of others do not define us. We are free to live authentically, to express ourselves fully, and to pursue our dreams without fear of what others may say. The moment we stop seeking external validation is the moment we begin to step into our true power. We realize that we do not need the approval of others to be worthy, to be loved, or to be successful. The fear of success is another insidious form of fear that often holds us back. We may find ourselves procrastinating, avoiding opportunities, or even sabotaging our own progress because we are afraid of what success will bring. Success means change, responsibility, and visibility, and many of us fear that we will not be able to handle it. We fear the pressure that comes with success, the expectations, and the demands that it places on us. But the truth is, success is not something to fear. Success is an opportunity for us to step into our full potential, to use our gifts and talents, to serve the world, and to create the life we desire. When we face the fear of success, we acknowledge that we are capable of handling the challenges that come with it. We trust in ourselves, in our abilities, and in our strength to rise to the occasion. The more we embrace success, the more we expand our capacity for greatness. Facing fear is not easy. It requires vulnerability, courage, and a willingness to step into the unknown, but it is the only way to truly transform. Every time you face a fear, you shed a layer of doubt, of limitation, of self-imposed restriction. You break free from the chains that have kept you small, and with every step you take, you become more aligned with who you are meant to be. Transformation happens when we choose to face our fears instead of avoiding them. It happens when we realize that fear is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Fear is the doorway to growth, and the only way through it is by stepping into it. The more you face fear, the more you realize that it does not control you. You control how you respond to it. Fear will never fully disappear, but with every step you take toward it, it becomes less powerful. As you climb your mountain, you will encounter fear again and again, but each time you face it, you become stronger, more resilient, and more capable of achieving your dreams. The mountain is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is the process through which you will become the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 7. Overcoming the inner critic. Voice that holds you back is not the world's voice, it's your own. The inner critic is a persistent, demanding voice inside your head that constantly undermines your efforts, belittles your accomplishments, and tells you that you are not good enough. This voice is often louder than the others, more insistent, and more convincing. It convinces you that you will never succeed, that you are not worthy of success, and that you are destined to fail. The inner critic is not an external force. It is a creation of your own mind, the result of years of negative conditioning, self-doubt, and fear. This voice is born from the experiences, messages, and judgments you have received throughout your life. It tells you that you are not worthy of love, success, or happiness. It holds you back from taking risks and from embracing your true potential. The inner critic often sounds like a voice of reason. It is the voice that tells you to play it safe, to not take risks, and to avoid the unknown. It is the voice that warns you that failure is inevitable, that success is for other people, but not for you. It thrives on self-doubt and fear, and it often uses these emotions to keep you small. The more you listen to the inner critic, the more you believe its lies, and the more you hold yourself back from living the life you truly want. But the truth is that the inner critic is not your friend. It is not there to protect you. It is there to limit you. The inner critic is a product of your fears and insecurities, and it will continue to hold you back until you choose to confront it. The moment you acknowledge the voice of the inner critic and refuse to give it control over your decisions is the moment you take back your power. The first step in overcoming the inner critic is to recognize it for what it is. The voice of the inner critic is often disguised as logic, reason, or practicality. It convinces you that its advice is based on reality, but in truth, it is based on fear and past experiences. The inner critic will always try to protect you from the unknown, but in doing so, it prevents you from stepping into your greatness. The more you listen to it, the more you reinforce its power. Recognize that the inner critic is not a reflection of reality. It is a reflection of the stories you have been telling yourself, the beliefs you have internalized, and the fears you have been avoiding. These stories are not truths. They are simply narratives that you have allowed to control your actions. The moment you realize this, you begin to take the power away from the inner critic. It no longer has control over you unless you allow it to. The next step in overcoming the inner critic is to challenge the thoughts it feeds you. When the inner critic tells you that you're not good enough, ask yourself, is this true? What evidence do I have to support this belief? The truth is, the inner critic rarely speaks in facts. It speaks in assumptions, exaggerations, and worst-case scenarios. It tells you what could happen if you fail, but it never acknowledges the possibility of success. It tells you that you're not enough, but it never shows you the evidence to back up that claim. When you challenge these thoughts, you create space for a new perspective. You begin to see that the inner critic's voice is not based on reality, but on fear. The more you question its validity, the less power it has over you. The inner critic feeds on your insecurities, but the more you challenge it, the weaker it becomes. Another powerful tool in overcoming the inner critic is to practice self-compassion. The inner critic thrives on self-judgment, shame, and guilt. It tells you that you are not worthy of success, that you are not good enough, and that you are a failure. But self-compassion is the antidote to this negativity. When you practice self-compassion, you choose to be kind to yourself. Even in the face of mistakes, setbacks, and failures, you recognize that being imperfect is part of being human, and that you are deserving of love and acceptance, just as you are. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend. When your inner critic tells you that you're not good enough, respond with love and understanding. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes, that it's okay to not have all the answers, and that you are worthy of success and happiness, regardless of your imperfections. Self-compassion allows you to silence the inner critic and replace it with a more loving, empowering voice. The inner critic is also fueled by comparison. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are not enough, that we are not as successful, as talented, or as worthy as others. The inner critic feeds off these comparisons, making us feel like we are falling short. But comparison is the enemy of growth. It distracts us from our own journey and makes us believe that we are not good enough. When we compare ourselves to others, we lose sight of our own unique gifts, talents, and potential. To overcome the inner critic, stop comparing yourself to others. Recognize that your journey is your own, and it is not meant to look like anyone else's. You are not in competition with anyone except for the person you were yesterday. Your path is unique, and it is meant to unfold at its own pace. The inner critic will try to make you feel like you are falling behind, but this is simply not true. Your journey is exactly where it needs to be. Another important aspect of overcoming the inner critic is to create new, empowering beliefs about yourself. The inner critic is built on the negative beliefs you have internalized over time. These beliefs are not fixed, they can be changed. Start by identifying the beliefs that the inner critic repeats, such as, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this. Then, replace them with more empowering beliefs. Affirmations are a powerful tool in this process. Repeat to yourself, I am capable of achieving my goals. I am worthy of success, and I have the strength to overcome challenges. The more you repeat these positive beliefs, the more they will replace the negative ones. Overcoming the inner critic is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, practice, and patience. But every step you take toward silencing this voice and replacing it with a more compassionate, empowering one brings you closer to the life you desire. When you overcome the inner critic, you free yourself from the chains that have been holding you back. You realize that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. The inner critic no longer has control over your decisions. You become the creator of your own destiny. The more you face the inner critic, the more you realize that it has no real power. It is only a voice, a collection of thoughts, and it can be silenced. You can replace its negativity with love, with self-compassion, and with empowerment. As you silence the inner critic, you create the space to step into your true power. to embrace your potential, and to live the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 8. Climbing the Mountain with Compassion. Climbing a mountain is no easy feat. It is a journey that requires strength, resilience, and unwavering determination. But just as important as these qualities is the one that many people overlook: compassion. As you embark on the climb toward your highest self, it is easy to become focused solely on the destination, on the summit, and forget about the importance of the journey itself. Compassion is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. Without it, you will never make it to the top. When we think about climbing a mountain, we often think of the struggle, the difficulty, and the pain that comes with it. We focus on the obstacles and the effort required to overcome them. But what if climbing the mountain could be a more nurturing, gentler experience? What if the climb was not just about pushing through pain and discomfort, but about honoring your own pace, listening to your body, and showing yourself the same kindness that you would show to someone you love? Compassion is not just for others. It is just as essential for yourself. When you climb your personal mountain, you will inevitably encounter setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt. In these moments, it is easy to become frustrated, to criticize yourself, and to feel like giving up. The inner critic may rear its ugly head, telling you that you are not good enough, that you will never make it, or that you should just stop trying. But it is in these moments of difficulty that compassion becomes your greatest ally. Climbing with compassion means choosing to treat yourself with the same love and understanding that you would offer to a friend who is struggling. It means accepting that mistakes are a natural part of the process, and that they do not define your worth. When you fall, you don't beat yourself up. You don't tell yourself that you are a failure. Instead, you offer yourself kindness and encouragement. You recognize that every misstep is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to adjust your course. Compassion in your climb also means acknowledging that the mountain is not meant to be conquered in a day. There will be days when you feel strong, when the climb feels easy, and when you are filled with hope and excitement. And there will be days when you feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and ready to quit. Compassion means understanding that this is part of the journey. It means recognizing that your progress does not always follow a linear path, and that it is okay to have moments of vulnerability, fatigue, and doubt. You will have moments when the mountain feels too steep, when the path feels too difficult, and when you wonder if it is worth it. But compassion tells you that it is. Compassion reminds you that you are doing the best you can, and that you are enough, just as you are. Compassion allows you to rest when you need to pause when the climb becomes too much, and to trust that you will be ready to continue when you are recharged and renewed. Another powerful aspect of climbing the mountain with compassion is the ability to embrace your imperfections. We often think that in order to succeed, we must be perfect, that we must do everything without making mistakes, without failing, without experiencing discomfort. But the truth is, the mountain is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about taking each step with intention and presence, knowing that you are on the right path, no matter how slow or imperfect it may seem. Climbing the mountain with compassion means allowing yourself to be human. It means embracing the fact that you will stumble, you will fall, and you will make mistakes. But none of these things define your worth or your ability to succeed. Your worth is not based on your ability to climb the mountain flawlessly. It is based on your willingness to keep going, even when things feel difficult. Compassion allows you to move forward, not in spite of your mistakes, but because of them. It helps you see that every step, no matter how small, is progress. Every effort, every attempt, is a step closer to your true self. Compassion also means giving yourself the grace to celebrate your victories, no matter how small they may seem. Often, when we are climbing a mountain, we are so focused on the summit that we forget to acknowledge the progress we've made. We forget to celebrate the moments of growth, the small wins, and the lessons we have learned along the way. But every step you take, every challenge you overcome, is a victory. Compassion means recognizing these victories and celebrating them, no matter how small they may seem. When you climb with compassion, you are also learning to embrace your emotions. The climb is not just a physical journey, it is an emotional one as well. You will experience joy, frustration, sadness, excitement, and doubt along the way. Compassion means giving yourself permission to feel all of these emotions without judgment. It means allowing yourself to experience the full range of emotions without suppressing or ignoring them. Emotions are part of the human experience, and By embracing them, you allow yourself to heal, to grow, and to connect more deeply with yourself. In climbing the mountain, you will learn that compassion is not just about being kind to yourself when things are easy. It is about showing up for yourself, even when the journey feels hard. It is about having patience with yourself when progress feels slow. And it is about offering yourself love when you feel like you are not enough. Compassion is not just a practice for the difficult moments, but for every moment. It is a reminder that the journey, with all its ups and downs, is part of the process of becoming who you are meant to be. The most powerful thing about climbing the mountain with compassion is that it allows you to show up as your authentic self. You no longer have to pretend to be perfect. You no longer have to hide your struggles or your vulnerabilities. You can be honest with yourself about where you are, what you need, and what you are feeling. Compassion allows you to stop pretending and to start living fully, embracing every part of yourself, both the light and the dark. The mountain you climb is not just a physical challenge, it is an emotional and spiritual one as well. Compassion helps you navigate the mountain with grace and understanding. It helps you honor your own pace, listen to your needs, and be kind to yourself when things get tough. Compassion is the force that will propel you forward, even when you feel like giving up. It is the love you give yourself when the road feels long and the climb feels impossible. As you continue on your journey, remember that the mountain is not something to be conquered with force. It is something to be climbed with compassion, step by step, at your own pace. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Each moment of self-compassion is a reminder that you are worthy of everything you desire. The mountain is not here to break you, it is here to help you grow. And with compassion, you will climb higher than you ever imagined, with strength, resilience, and love guiding you every step of the way. Chapter 9. Living Beyond the Mountain. The journey you've taken to reach this point has been transformative. You have climbed, struggled, fallen, and risen. The mountain that once loomed before you, large and intimidating, is no longer the obstacle it once was. It has become the very path that has led you to this moment of growth. But the climb is not the end. Reaching the summit, in many ways, is just the beginning of living the life you were meant to live. Living beyond the mountain means understanding that the mountain was never meant to hold you back, but to help you become the person you were always meant to be. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that once we achieve something, once we reach the top, once we overcome a challenge, the journey is over. But the truth is that life is a constant evolution. The real work begins after the climb, in how we continue to live, how we integrate the lessons we've learned, and how we use our newfound strength to create the life we desire. As you stand at the summit, you may feel a sense of accomplishment, and rightfully so. You've made it this far. But now it's time to ask yourself, what's next? What will you do with the wisdom you have gained? How will you apply the courage, strength, and clarity you found in your journey to the next chapter of your life? Living beyond the mountain is about creating a life that is aligned with your true self, a life that reflects your highest values, desires, and purpose. The mountain has taught you so much about who you are and what you are capable of. But the real question is, how do you take what you've learned and live it every day? The summit is not the finish line. It's the vantage point that allows you to see the landscape ahead of you, to make the conscious choice to keep moving forward. Living with intention. Living beyond the mountain means living with intention. You are no longer drifting aimlessly through life, letting fear, doubt, and insecurity dictate your choices. You've faced your inner struggles, and now you have the clarity and strength to move forward with purpose. Each decision you make is now intentional, rooted in the knowledge that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of the life you are creating. Intentional living means being conscious of the choices you make and the way you show up in the world. It's about aligning your actions with your values and purpose. It means being present in each moment, not letting the noise of the past or the anxiety about the future distract you from what truly matters. The journey beyond the mountain is about understanding that every step you take is part of the process of living the life you were meant to live. The power of consistency that climbed to the summit was not a one-time event, nor will living beyond the mountain be. Living a life aligned with your true self is a continuous process. It's not a destination but a journey. The key to this journey is consistency. The lessons you've learned, the strength you've gained, and the person you've become, all of it requires ongoing commitment. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when the climb feels steep or the path unclear. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean never stumbling or making mistakes. What it means is that you keep going, no matter what. You keep making decisions that align with your values, even when it's difficult. You continue to face your fears, to challenge your doubts, and to make progress toward your goals, even when the road gets tough. This consistency builds momentum, and with that momentum comes growth. The more consistent you are in your actions, the more you will see the life you've always desired take shape. Embracing living beyond the mountain means embracing change. The climb itself has transformed you, but transformation doesn't stop at the summit. As you move forward in life, you will continue to evolve. Change is inevitable. The challenge is to embrace it, to see it not as something to fear, but as something to welcome. With each step you take, you will find new challenges, new opportunities, and new obstacles. But this is the beauty of life. It is an ever journey, and you are meant to grow with it. Embracing change means releasing the need for control. It means trusting that the path ahead will unfold as it is meant to. It means having faith that the challenges you face are not there to break you, but to help you grow into the person you are meant to become. The mountain you've climbed is just one chapter in your journey, and there will be many more chapters ahead. Embrace the unknown, the uncertainty, and the potential for growth that change brings. Living in alignment with your true self. Living beyond the mountain also means living in alignment with your true self. The climb has shown you who you really are beneath the layers of fear, self-doubt, and limitation. Now it is time to honor that person. It is time to live a life that reflects your authentic self, not the self you were told to be or the self you have been hiding behind for years. To live in alignment with your true self is to live a life of authenticity, one that reflects your deepest desires, values, and purpose. It means making decisions that are in harmony with your inner truth, rather than succumbing to the expectations of others or the pressures of society. Living authentically may mean stepping away from situations, people, or beliefs that no longer serve you. It may mean making bold choices, stepping out of your comfort zone, and trusting that your path is uniquely yours to walk. When you live in alignment with your true self, everything falls into place. You begin to attract the people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with your authentic energy. You feel a sense of peace and fulfillment, knowing that you are living a life that is true to who you are. The mountain you've climbed was a test, a process of shedding the layers that have kept you from your true self. Now that you've reached the top, you are free to live a life that reflects the person you were always meant to be. The beauty of the journey living beyond the mountain also means appreciating the journey itself. The climb has been difficult, but it has also been beautiful. Every step you've taken, every challenge you've overcome, has brought you closer to the person you are meant to be. The mountain was not just an obstacle to overcome, it was a beautiful, life-changing process. And as you move forward, you will begin to see that the journey is just as important, if not more so, than the destination. That the beauty of the journey lies in the growth, the lessons, and the self-discovery that happen along the way. It is in the moments of discomfort, the setbacks, and the breakthroughs that you truly find yourself. It is through the climb that you discover what you are truly made of, and when you reach the summit, you realize that the journey was not about getting to the top. It was about becoming who you were always meant to be. Living beyond the mountain means continuing this journey, not as an end, but as a beginning. It means embracing the process of growth, change, and self-discovery. It means living with intention, embracing the unknown, and staying true to your authentic self. The mountain may be behind you, but the path ahead is just as beautiful, just as full of potential, and just as full of possibility. Conclusion. The journey continues. The mountain, once a towering, seemingly insurmountable force in your life, has been climbed, one step at a time. But reaching the summit is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of something greater. Through every challenge, every fear faced, and every self-limiting belief dismantled, you have undergone a transformation. You are no longer the same person who first looked at the mountain in front of you. The journey was never about simply reaching the top. It was about the person you became in the process. The mountain represents all the internal obstacles you've faced, the doubts, fears, and limiting stories that you've carried for years. By climbing it, you've learned that these obstacles are not walls that will stop you. They are the very terrain that will help you grow. And now that you've climbed, you know that the summit, though beautiful, is just a vantage point for seeing a new horizon, one filled with even greater potential. transformation, and possibilities. As you live beyond the mountain, remember that the journey doesn't end here. The lessons you've learned are not one-time revelations, but tools you will carry with you for the rest of your life. The mountain may no longer loom large in front of you, but new challenges will come, and new mountains will rise. Ones you will continue to climb with the wisdom you've gained along the way. The journey you've undertaken is about more than just overcoming obstacles. It is about learning to embrace every step, every moment of discomfort, every setback, and every triumph as part of your personal evolution. It is about living authentically, making decisions from a place of deep inner knowing, and staying committed to your growth, no matter how difficult the path may seem. In the end, the mountain is not something to fear or avoid. It is something to climb with purpose, patience, and self-compassion. The mountain will always be there, in one form or another, but it no longer defines you. You are defined by your resilience, your willingness to grow, and your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself you have already climbed so far. Now, as you stand at the summit, take a moment to look back on how far you've come. Celebrate the strength, courage, and determination that got you here. And then, turn your gaze to the future, to the mountains you will climb, to the person you are becoming, and to the limitless potential that lies ahead. The mountain is you, and with every step, you are becoming more and more of the person you were always meant to be.